G'day legends, I hope you're all fantastic. On today's video, we've got the brand new Boss NS1X on the bench today. This is, I guess, the 21st century reimagining of their classic NS2 pedal. That's basically where the similarities end though, because this is using Boss's new multi-dimensional processing. There's a gate mode, a noise reduction mode, and a mute mode on there, so 3 modes. 3 knobs on there. It has the usual send and return setting on there so that you can either use this as a really straight in and out gate or noise reducer, or you can sidechain your gate with your main signal to get even better results. So rather than kind of just rehash what is going to be on the Boss website and in their official launch video, what I want to show you is how I would personally dial this unit in and set it up. Hopefully along the way, you'll learn some tricks, either to use the noise gates you've already got or that you're using in your DAW or modeler, or if you go out and grab one of these, you can use this process that I'm about to outline to hopefully get some really good results. Let's go. I'll show you how I would personally set up and dial in the NS1X. I'm coming out of my guitar, a PRS DGT, into the input of the NS1X. The optimal way, in my opinion, to use this is to place the thing that is distorting in the effects loop of the NS1X. So just think about the preamp of your amp. Alternatively, think about a distortion pedal. You can think of your preamp of your amplifier as having an input, and then normally it's labeled effects send, but we'll call that the preamp output. So you're gonna take the send of the NS1X and plug it into the input of your distorting device, preamp. Then you're gonna take the preamp output and plug it back into the return of the NS1X. Finally, the output of the NS1X is going to go either to your power amp or it's going to go downstream to, say, your time-based effects pedals on there. I personally like to use a gate for 2 reasons. One is to get rid of this kind of thing. If I turn the damping down here and I turn the threshold down, you can hear there's this just kind of background noise because the amp's just sitting there idling, it's running hot, it's ready to make a blast of distortion. And we get that. And I'm not really at super high volumes at the moment, but it's pretty annoying. So at concert volumes, it can get super annoying. And if you're running, say, boost pedals into high gain amps, this is only gonna get worse. The other reason I like using a gate is so that I can play staccato parts live and kind of have them phase lock with the drums and bass nicely. As an example, I'll play a bit of the Ragdoll song Rust, and there's a breakdown that goes like this. You kind of get the idea if you're used to kind of playing your djenty parts. Playing that part, then having the noise floor really high is super annoying. You want that big contrast in there. So choose either the gate or the reduction mode on here. Let's start out, say, with the gate mode. The first thing you're going to do is just set the decay to minimum. Just as a starting point, we can tweak this right at the end. Then with the damping and the threshold all the way down, I want you to turn the damping up to around halfway. You'll immediately start to hear the noise go down and kind of bring it up to the point where you're not hearing too much. Then with your guitar, like wind the guitar volume control up and just try some really basic chug. So what we've done there is we've kind of activated the gate, but it still takes a little while for that background noise to go underneath the threshold. So let's turn the threshold control up, and we're going to repeat that same exercise of just doing some chugs, but we actually want to hit the point where it starts to get really glitchy and unnatural. Okay, it's still sounding pretty unnatural. I mean, that is a cool effect. It's kind of a stuttery thing. You could use this as an effect, as a lot of modern metal bands do. But from that point, basically, just pull that threshold control back a little bit to the point where it starts to feel and sound a little more natural. That's already pretty much perfect for doing those staccato style things on there. If you're not doing a lot of that staccato style stuff though, you can back the decay off. This is gonna just give you that extra little bit of sustain in there. So I'll back it all the way off so that you can hear the effect when I do some staccato stuff and just kind of bring it back to the point where I'm happy with it. I personally like to have that decay control just above the minimum in there. That way it still feels nice and natural and I've got sustain when I'm playing lead lines, but I can still do that staccato stuff. You can then experiment with either using the gate or the noise reduction mode on there. Let's hear noise reduction. As I would expect it to do, because most modern modelers, including the Boss GT and GX series, have what I'm guessing is pretty similar technology in there, and those gates that are built into those units always kind of beat out the old school pedal gates that I've tried. The nice thing about this as well is we've been hearing everything super dry. I can leave that on and then put a big lead delay on the back end and still play and kind of do the things that I normally like to do and pull big guitar faces as well without the feel being sacrificed. The last mode to talk about on here is just the mute mode, and this is also a pretty useful utility. If you go to the mute mode and you've got the pedal on, you get nothing. And I know some people would say, why would you want to do that? Well, if you place this at the end of a large pedal board, and say you've got a tuner at the front and then a bunch of boost pedals as part of your sound, or even, old school modulation effects that are going to bring up the noise floor, then you can place this right at the end. So you can turn your tuner on and use the tuner mute, but then use this at the end of the chain to totally mute everything, because while the tuner might be first in line and it's muting your guitar, all those other devices at the end are going to be adding noise. So you can chuck this right at the end and just kind of use it as something to, I don't know, not annoy the drummer, as if that's a real thing people ever want to do. Maybe not annoy the front 3 rows at the concert because your amp is hissing so loud. So personally for me, that reduction mode on there, it's not really about the settings on the pedal, it is about the process, and that process is going to take into account using different guitars and different amps. And I'm hoping that if you follow this with this particular unit, or any gate worth its salt in general, you should be able to get some really good results really quickly. And so much about guitar gear and music in general is about understanding the process behind it and not just relying on settings. So I hope I've been able to provide that today. If you've got any other questions, let me know in the comment section below. Find more information about the pedal and things like the Boss multi-dimensional processing in the video description. You can also support me directly either via Patreon or by buying some of the music I make with my band Ragdoll. Just check the video description. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks to Boss Australia for loaning me this, and I'll see you next time.